Hi all, in this video I am going to discuss about how to develop a software for an organization. For developing any kind of software, we have to follow certain steps or we have to follow certain activities. The various activities which are involved in the development of a software is known as software development methodology. A system development methodology is a framework that is used to structure, plan and control the process of developing an information system. So basically, the software development methodology deals with the development of the entire system. It starts with planning, designing, coding, testing and implementing. So many different methodologies are available. Some of the methodologies are SDLC, waterfall and prototyping. In software development, we are basically concerned with two different types of systems. That is the assisting system or the manual system, and the other one is the proposed system. That is the system which we are going to be developed. It is also known as the candidate system. So if you are developing a software, we are actually moving from or we are actually migrating from the current system to the computerized new system. One of the most basic and fundamental methodology used for developing a software is SDLC. SDLC stands for System Development Lifecycle. Here, the system is concerned as a software, so it is also known as Software Development Lifecycle. And it contains so many different phases: system study, feasibility study, system analysis, system design, coding, testing, implementation and maintenance. The system development lifecycle is a chain of activities, or it contains so many different phases and all the phases are moving from one after the other. That is, first the system study, after that the feasibility study, then system analysis in this way. That is, after completing one phase of development, it is moving on to the next phase. In system development lifecycle, the first phase is system study. System study means we have to study the current system, or we can say that we have to identify the problems in the current system. And if you are planning for developing a software, we have to make sure that if you are developing the new system, that system would be capable of solving all the problems in the current system. That we have to identify. For that purpose, we are conducting the system study. So basically, system study means study the existing system. After conducting the system study, we are moving on to the second phase, that is feasibility study. Feasibility study is the study of how beneficial the development of the system would be to the organization. For example, for developing a software, we have to spend a large amount of money. As part of the organization has to decide whether they are spending this much amount of money for installing the software, whatever benefits they will get from the system. So we have to make a comparison between the cost and the benefits of the system. That is, the cost benefit analysis is to be conducted. The overall cost required for developing the software is evaluated. At the same time, the benefits we will get from the system in the coming future will be evaluated. And we make a comparison between both the cost and the benefit. If the benefit is on the higher side, then we can say that the system is economically feasible or the system is feasible to the organization. Then we can moving on to the next phase. The third phase of system development lifecycle is system analysis. System analysis is the detailed study of the system. That means we are actually going to develop the system and whatever data or whatever information we required for developing the software, that we have to collect. So the required data is collecting and it is stored in separate files. It is the process of collecting and interpreting facts, identifying the problems and decomposition of a system into its components. And after collecting the required data, we are moving on to the next phase. After system analysis, the next phase is system design. The software development actually starts from this system design phase. So here we have to design or develop the software. For a software, there are two parts are there. One is the front end part, the other one is the back end part. Front end part means the UI of the system. UI means user interface of the system. For example, if you are using any online application or any reservation system, the user is actually interacting with the front part of the software. That is, the user is interacting. User can view the data from the software, and user can select the required fields, and he can book the particular ticket. So the user normally communicate with the front end part of the software. That is known as the physical design. So basically, the system design consisting of two parts, the physical design and the logical design. Physical design means the front end of the software has to be designed. That means the UI, user interface of the software. Also, we have to design the back end part of the software. Once the user enters some data to the system, we have to store the data in the database. So we have to design the database of the system. That is known as the back end of the software. It is also known as the logical design. So system design basically concerned with the front end part of the system, that is the physical design, at the same time the back end part of the system, that is known as the logical design. So once the physical design and the logical design is over, we can say that the designing part of the software is completed. After completing the design part, we are moving on to the next phase, that is known as coding. Coding is the process of writing the programs to connect the front end and back end of the software. That means whatever UI we have designed and whatever front end, back end we have designed, we have to connect the front end part of the software and the back end part of the software. That means whenever the user enters some data to the system through the user interface, the data has to be stored in the database. For that purpose, we have to write the required programs. That process is known as coding. At the time of coding, the programmer can select any one of the suitable language convenient for the software. The most commonly used languages are .NET, PHP, Java, etc. And after coding, we can say that the software is almost ready. Now we can implement or install the software into user's site. So before that, we have to ensure that the system is working properly or not. For that purpose, we are moving on to the next phase, that is known as system testing. So system testing means we have to check whether the software is working properly or not. If it is working properly, then we can say that the software is ready for installation. And if there is any errors occurring, then we have to again make the required changes in the programming part. System testing basically is of two types. One is unit test and the other one is system test. Unit test means we have to test individual parts of the software. Individual part of the software means we have to test the modules of the software. So normally when we are developing a software, we are dividing the software into different modules. So after designing, we have to check each of the module is working properly. And all the modules are working properly, then we can combine all the modules together and we have to test the system as a whole. That is known as system testing. During the system testing phase, we are actually providing original data to the system and also dummy data to the system. In both cases, the system is working properly, then we can say that the software is ready for installation. And after that, we are moving on to the next phase, that is known as system implementation, or it is also known as software implementation. That means the system or the software which we are developed is installing into user's site. And there are three types of system implementation are there. System implementation is also known as system conversion. That means we are actually moving from or we are actually converting from the existing system to the new computerized system. So we can install the software in three different ways. One is direct conversion, the second one is parallel conversion, and the third one is phased conversion. In direct conversion, we are stopping the manual system and we are directly moving on to the new system. In the case of parallel conversion, we are running both the manual system and the computerized system as parallel for a certain period of time. And at the end of that particular period, we are checking the results from both the manual system and the computerized system. If both the results are same, then we can say that the system is working properly. Then we can gradually moving on to the new computerized system. That is in the case of parallel conversion. And the third one is phased conversion. Phased conversion means we are installing or implementing the software phase by phase. That is, one module of the software is installed. After a certain period of time, we will check whether it is working properly. And it is working properly, we are moving on to the next module. Like that. That is, the software is installing phase by phase. So these are the three different conversion methods, or we can say that three different system or software implementation methods. Once the software is installed, the software development process is completed, and we are moving on to the last phase of system development life cycle, that is the system or the software maintenance. Once the software is installed in the organization or in the user side, whatever changes we are making in the system, that is known as system maintenance. Sometimes there may be some errors occurs in the program. At that situation, we have to again correct those errors. Sometimes we have to make some policy changes in the software, or sometimes the organization policies or government rules and regulations may change. So according to that change, we have to make the required change in the software, or sometimes we need to upgrade the system. So at that situation, we have to make the required changes in the software. So that is known as system maintenance. It is mainly done for knowing the full capabilities of the system, knowing the required changes or the additional requirements, or studying the performance of the system. So these are the 8 phases of system development life cycle. So basically, software development methodology means any method which is used for developing the software. In the case of SDLC method, there are 8 phases are there: system study, feasibility study, system analysis, system design, coding, testing, implementation, and finally the system maintenance. So as part of the programmer convenience, as part of the situation of the software, we can select any one of the suitable methodology for implementing or developing any kind of software. Thank you.